The university auditorium buzzed with excitement as graduating seniors filed into their seats. I smoothed my designer blazer, the one I wore to close my biggest real estate deals, and watched my steps and James adjust his cap and gown in the front row. "He looks so handsome," my husband Robert whispered, squeezing my hand. "Thank you for making this happen, Sarah." I smiled, thinking of the scholarship recommendation letters I'd written through my connections as the city's top luxury real estate broker. Not that his mother Margaret knew about my influence, she was too busy taking credit for his success. Speaking of Margaret, I spotted her trademark platinum blonde hair several rows ahead, wearing a dress that cost more than most people's monthly mortgage. The same mortgage she was about to default on, though she didn't know that yet. "Oh look, the trophy wife showed up," Margaret's voice carried deliberately across 3 rows, probably to show off another designer outfit bought with my alimony. I bit back a laugh. My commission from selling just one luxury property exceeded her annual alimony, but Margaret preferred her narrative of me as the young gold digger who'd stolen her husband. The ceremony began with James's name among the first called due to his honors status. As he crossed the stage, I stood to take photos, accidentally blocking Margaret's view. "Sit down," she hissed. "I'm trying to watch my son graduate." "Our son," I corrected quietly, continuing to snap pictures. That did it. Margaret shot up from her seat, face flushed with rage. "How dare you? You've been his stepmother for what, 3 years? I carried him for 9 months." People around us started turning to stare. Robert touched my arm. "Sarah, maybe we should." "No," I stood my ground. "I have every right to celebrate James's achievement." "Achievement?" Margaret laughed bitterly. "Please, he succeeded because of my parenting, my sacrifices. Like keeping the family mansion so he'd have stability. The mansion she could no longer afford, thanks to her shopaholic tendencies. The one I'd be showing to buyers tomorrow." "The mansion you're about to lose?" The words slipped out before I could stop them. Margaret's eyes widened. Then, before anyone could react, her hand whipped across my face with a crack that echoed through the auditorium. "You gold-digging bitch," she snarled. "You'll never be his real mother. And that house, that will always be our family home, mine and Robert's, not yours." My cheeks stung, but I maintained my professional smile, the same one I used when closing multi-million-dollar deals. "We'll see about that." "Security," someone called. Several university officers started moving toward us. "Don't bother," Margaret grabbed her designer purse. "I'm leaving. But this isn't over, little Miss Real Estate Agent. You may have stolen my husband, but you'll never take my home." As she stormed out, I touched my throbbing cheek and felt the thick envelope in my blazer pocket. Inside was the official notice. Margaret had defaulted on her mortgage, and the bank had appointed me as the listing agent. By this time tomorrow, I'd be showing her beloved mansion to qualified buyers. "Mom." James had left his seat to check on me. "Are you okay? I saw what happened." "I'm fine, sweetheart." I hugged him tight. "Nothing can ruin your special day." Robert looked devastated. "Sarah, I'm so sorry. Margaret's always been volatile. But this is about to backfire spectacularly." I finished, pulling out my phone to check tomorrow's showing schedule. "Trust me." "What do you mean?" James asked. I smiled mysteriously. "Let's just say your mother's about to learn a valuable lesson about karma and property rights." The ceremony resumed, though I noticed plenty of phones still pointed our way. No doubt the video of Margaret's assault would be circulating soon. Perfect timing, actually. It would make tomorrow's revelation even sweeter. "You're taking this remarkably well," Robert whispered as James returned to his seat. "Because I know something she doesn't." I straightened my blazer. "That mansion she's so proud of, the one she got in your divorce, it goes on the market tomorrow morning." "What? But how?" "She defaulted on the mortgage 3 months ago. The bank appointed me as the listing agent last week." I touched my stinging cheek. Sometimes revenge doesn't need to be planned. Sometimes it just needs a real estate license. The rest of the graduation proceeded beautifully. James received his diploma with honors, we took family photos, and celebrated his achievement. But I couldn't help anticipating tomorrow's open house. Margaret's face when she saw me standing in her foyer with prospective buyers would be priceless. Sometimes the best revenge isn't responding to a slap. It's simply waiting for karma to unfold in its own perfect time. especially when karma comes with a for sale sign. I arrived at Margaret's mansion precisely at 9 a.m., my heels clicking on the marble foyer she'd bragged about for years. The security code still worked. The bank had made sure of that when they gave me the listing. Methodically, I began preparing for the open house, setting out my luxury marketing materials and turning on all the lights to highlight the grand staircase. The house was a mess. Designer clothes strewn everywhere, empty wine bottles on costly antique tables. Clearly, Margaret hadn't expected anyone to enter her sanctuary. I'd given my assistant specific instructions not to inform her about today's showing. Some surprises were worth waiting for. At 10:30 a.m., right on schedule, I heard the distinctive roar of Margaret's sports car pulling into the circular driveway. Perfect timing. The serious buyers would arrive at 11. "What the hell are you doing in my house?" Margaret burst through the front door, still wearing yesterday's makeup. "I'm calling the police." "Good morning, Margaret." I handed her my business card with the bank's authorization letter. "I'm here in my professional capacity as the listing agent for this property." She snatched the papers, her face shifting from confusion to rage as she read. "This is a mistake. The bank can't sell my house." "Actually, they can. 3 months of missed payments, remember? Plus that little scene you caused at graduation yesterday. Not a good look for someone trying to keep their luxury home." "You?" Her hands shook. "You planned this." "The bank chose me because I'm the top luxury real estate agent in the city. Your assault yesterday just made the timing more poetic." The doorbell rang. Margaret spun around to see a wealthy-looking couple peering through the glass doors. "You can't show my house. I haven't even packed. The bank's authorization gives me full access." I moved to open the door. "You're welcome to stay for the showing, but I should warn you, that video of you slapping me is trending on social media. Might want to keep a low profile." "Welcome to Oakwood Estate." I greeted the buyers warmly. "Please excuse the current owner. She was just leaving." "Like hell I am." Margaret grabbed a crystal vase. "This is my house." "Was your house," I corrected calmly, noting how the buyers stepped back nervously. "And that Waterford crystal you're holding? Listed in the bank's inventory. Destroying it would be vandalism." Margaret's mascara-streaked face crumpled. "Robert gave me this house in the divorce, and he mortgaged it to the hilt for designer clothes and spa trips." I gestured to the shopping bags littering the floor. "Now shall I continue the showing, or would you prefer the police explain property laws?" The buyers whispered to each other, clearly entertained by the drama. Margaret must have realized she was only hurting herself because she dropped the vase back onto the table. "This isn't over," she hissed, grabbing her purse. "I'll fight this." "With what money?" I asked sweetly. "Now, let me show you the grand ballroom. It's perfect for entertaining." Throughout the next hour, I conducted a flawless showing while Margaret sat in her car, alternating between crying and making angry phone calls. 3 more groups of buyers arrived, all suitably impressed by the property, if not by the mascara-stained woman having a meltdown in the driveway. "The master suite features a spa-like bathroom," I was saying when Margaret burst back in. "Nobody's buying my house." She looked wild-eyed. "I just called Robert. He'll stop this." "Actually," I checked my phone. "Your son James just made an offer. Full asking price." That stopped her cold. "What?" "Remember that trust fund you never knew about? The one his grandparents set up. He's using it to buy his childhood home." I smiled. "He's planning to turn it into a boutique hotel. Rather poetic, don't you think?" Margaret sank onto the stairs, her designer dress catching on the rough wood. "James wouldn't. After yesterday's scene, he absolutely would. In fact," I showed her my phone screen, displaying James's message. "Do it, Mom. Time for some changes." "But where am I supposed to go?" "I hear there are some lovely apartments on the east side." I turned back to the buyers. "Now about those crown moldings." Margaret finally stumbled out, mascara streaming down her face. Through the windows, I watched her sports car speed away, likely toward another wine bar to drown her sorrows. "Quite a show," one of the buyers commented. "Indeed." I straightened my blazer. "Now let's discuss the property's investment potential. The hotel market in this area is quite underserved." By day's end, I had 3 backup offers in addition to James's. As I locked up, I touched my cheek where Margaret had slapped me. The sting had faded, replaced by the sweet satisfaction of karma well served. My phone buzzed with a text from James. Really doing this? Converting Mom's precious mansion into a hotel? Only if you're sure, I replied. After what she did to you? Absolutely. Time she learned money can't buy class. I smiled, taking one last look at the house Margaret had lorded over me for years. Tomorrow we'd start the paperwork to transfer her precious mansion to her son, the one person she couldn't legally fight. Sometimes revenge doesn't need to be dramatic. Sometimes it just needs good timing, a real estate license, and a stepson with excellent investment instincts. 6 months later, I stood in the transformed grand foyer of what was now the Heritage Hotel. The marble floors Margaret had once bragged about now gleamed beneath elegant hotel guests instead of her scattered shopping bags. James had turned his childhood home into the city's most exclusive boutique hotel, complete with a five-star restaurant where the kitchen used to be. Mrs. Cooper. A staff member approached. There's a situation at reception. I already knew what, or rather, who, it would be. Margaret stood at the front desk, swaying slightly, her designer clothes noticeably from last season's collection. This is my house, she was saying to the startled receptionist. I raised my son here. And now your son owns it, I said smoothly, approaching the desk. Can I help you, Margaret? She spun around, nearly losing her balance. You did this to me. I'm living in a 2-bedroom apartment while you turned my home into a successful business. I raised an eyebrow, one that's fully booked 6 months in advance. I want to book a room, she declared suddenly. I have the right to stay in my own house. I checked the reservation system on my tablet. We do have a suite available. That will be $1,200 per night, plus a security deposit. Margaret's face fell. We both knew she couldn't afford it. Her alimony barely covered her rent now. Perhaps the lobby bar, I suggested kindly. We serve excellent martinis. Mom. James appeared from his office, dressed in a sharp business suit. Is everything okay? Jamie. Margaret rushed to hug him, but he stepped back. It's James, he corrected. And if you're here to make a scene again, please don't. We have guests. She looked around helplessly at the transformed space. This was our home. Was James agreed? Now it's something better. Something that actually brings value to people instead of just showing off wealth. A wealthy couple walked past, heading to the renowned restaurant that used to be Margaret's showcase kitchen. She watched them longingly, remembering when she was the one making grand entrances. I heard you're working as a sales clerk now, James said, not unkindly. How's that going? Margaret's shoulders slumped. It's humbling. 20 hours a week at the mall. In a store where I used to spend thousands. I felt a twinge of sympathy. There's an opening for an events coordinator here, I found myself saying. Someone to handle wedding bookings, social functions. If you're interested. Both James and Margaret looked at me in surprise. You'd give me a job? Margaret asked suspiciously. After everything. Consider it a chance to be part of your son's success instead of resenting it. I handed her a business card. The interview's Tuesday at 9 a.m. Wear something professional, not designer. And Margaret? I touched my cheek where she'd slapped me. No more dramatic scenes. She clutched the card like a lifeline. I'll be there. After she left, James turned to me. You're really giving her a chance. Sometimes the best revenge is showing someone a better way to live. I straightened a fresh flower arrangement in the lobby. Besides, she does know how to throw a party. Might as well put that skill to good use. You're a better person than she deserves. James hugged me. Maybe, I smiled. Or maybe I just understand that true success isn't about owning a mansion. It's about building something meaningful. Something she'll learn as she takes the job. That evening, as I watched the sunset paint the hotel's windows gold, I received a text from Margaret. Thank you for the opportunity. I'll be there Tuesday, and I'm sorry about the slap. I showed it to Robert over dinner in our hotel restaurant. He shook his head in amazement. You're really giving her a second chance. No, I corrected, sipping my wine. I'm giving her something better, a chance to earn her own success instead of taking from others. Besides, I gestured to the packed dining room, watching her coordinate weddings in the house she lost. That's a special kind of karma. Sometimes the sweetest revenge isn't about destroying someone. It's about showing them a better version of themselves. Even if that lesson comes with a uniform and a name tag.